Hello! Welcome to the Leopard Gecko Expose. Well, there's one leopard gecko here, and her name is Lady Alyssa, and she is almost 8 years old. She is a plain old leopard gecko, no fancy genetics here that I'm aware of. She will be 8 years old on May 8th. She is a stubborn Taurus. She's a beautiful girl. As you can see, she is over close to 8 inches long. She is not standing still at the moment. There she is, my big girl. She weighs about 60 grams, just short of 60 grams. She was from Reptile Showcase here in Rochester, New York. I purchased her there 8 years ago. If you can do the math, it's 2014. Well, 8 years ago makes it 2006. Unfortunately, Angelo, her godfather, and the one who bred her from babyhood, from non-existence, passed away about 2 years ago. Reptile Showcase no longer exists. My favorite pet store in Rochester, honestly, close to me, is on Monroe Avenue. It's called Park Avenue Pets. It's a great store. Her prices are higher than places like Petco or PetSmart. She is an independent contractor, meaning she owns her own store. She's not a chain store. She's not part of a big conglomerate, so she's an independent storekeeper. She's a great lady. Her name's Lisa. If you see her, say that Michelle sent you. And Lady Alyssa here has been on tap water her entire life. I don't use bottled water. I don't use ReptiSafe, and she's fit as a fiddle. She's seen a vet maybe 8 times in her life. She had a little bit of a lung thing, and she has had a couple of shedding problems. And she's not the best eater in the world. I actually have to feed her only about 3 times a week, because otherwise she won't eat. But she's actually gotten used to not being hand-fed. Now let me tell you, the worst thing you can do if you have any kind of a gecko, unless it's ill, is to hand-feed them. When they're hand-fed, they get spoiled, and it's their instinct to hunt for their food. Do not, I repeat, do not ever put sand in with a leopard gecko. They will get impacted. That was one of the things I learned the hard way. I think possibly years ago I had a little gecko get sand impactation. Her name was Miss Piggy. She had shedding problems. She was having trouble with digestion. She ended up dying from going blind from a bad shed. Apparently my apartment I had back in '99 was really bad. She had serious shedding problems, and she ended up dying from being force-fed improperly. The pet doctor, the veterinarian, I will not mention their name on camera because that would be really rude. They didn't really do lizards. So if you get a pet reptile, a snake, a lizard of any kind, a turtle, a tortoise, any kind of reptile, or an amphibian like a newt, if you want to keep your newt or your salamander or your, I'm trying to think of what else is an amphibian, your frog for a really long time, do not take them to a place that does cats and dogs and birds. Now, if you want a really good vet for a reptile, I actually think that the veterinarians that do birds do a better job of taking care of the lizards. But honestly, a lizard is what they consider an exotic pet. So if you're looking for a reptile veterinarian, you want to look for a veterinarian that does exotic animals. Or you can also look for a veterinarian that has a degree in herpetology, and no, it has nothing to do with herpes disease. A person that is a herpetologist is a person that studies lizards and snakes and other reptiles, just so you know. And I love my geckos. I have 2 of them. Clementine is my little boy. He is going to be a year old in about a week, and he is a little ham. Lady Alyssa here, she's sitting down in my hand. She doesn't like to be in front of the camera much. Lady, you want to say hi, big beast? This is my lady, Lady Alyssa. She's about to be 8 years old, like I said. She's getting ready to shed, I think. She's been a hearty eater recently. She normally wasn't much of an eater, but she's gotten better with the eating. She's a good girl. I have my geckos on bark. It's not like the bark mulch that you get at a store like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, or even at Walmart. It is bark mulch. It's similar to what you would see outdoors in a really classy community or an apartment complex that is too cheap to cut the grass, I guess you'd say. Um, but I really like it. It doesn't have too much of a smell. I have really bad allergies. There is something called reptile snow or repti snow. That's another option. But that one has oils in it that it can be irritating to the reptile eyes for some of the species. Leopard geckos, one thing about them is their skin is very delicate. So like the young man was saying, um, you don't want to get anything that has rough edges where your gecko could get scratched or cut or injured in any way. Um, and shedding problems have been the biggest issue for me in the geckos that I've had over the years. I've had, let's see, Miss Piggy was the first one, Tinkerbell was the second one, Lady's the third, Lady Alyssa's the third, and then I had Princess Tiana, who passed in December, so not quite, a little more than 2 months ago. And then Clementine's my newest one, and in between Lady and Tiana, I had one I called Lily, and Lily and the little one, Lily, didn't get along, so I brought the animal back to the pet store, back to Reptile Showcase here in Rochester, New York, and I said, you know, they're not getting along, and I had forgotten that I had the old terrarium from when Lady was little, because I have a much fancier setup now. If you saw this setup, you'd be like, oh my god, that is so cool. It's a very expensive Exoterra brand terrarium. Actually, I don't have a long enough cord to move the video camera here. It's just a webcam. But I'm going to put Lady back in her terrarium. Yep, that's right. It's an Exoterra terrarium. And it's not a long one. And I was just thinking about expanding my reptile collection. I have two. I had three, but I'm going to show you darling Clementine, who actually, it turns out, is a male. He is almost 1 year old, and he is just the cutest thing since sliced bread. Of course, I have a slightly biased opinion. Now here's darling Clementine, who is 1 year old, and he's always been on tap water, so don't worry about the tap water. He is a tangerine leopard gecko, as you may or not be able to tell. The lighting here is a little bit lousy. He's a tangerine color, hence the name Clementine, like the Clementine oranges. Whoops. Let's see. Will he hold still for you? There he is. Woo! He's a slippery little devil. He's not slippery, he's just wiggly. He's darling Clementine, and he has a carrot tail. As you can see, the very, very bright orange on the top half here. Whoops, there he goes. Right here, that's his orangey tail. And then he's got the standard leopard gecko print right here, the spotting. There he goes, very wiggly little baby. Here he is in my red shirt that I've had from him for a million years. Well, not really a million years, but you can see he's tame. He's tame. He's tamer than he used to be. He used to be very, very high-strung. He actually got away from me a couple of months ago. I found him behind a tower of plastic bins because I am a plastic bin addict. And here's darling Clementine. He will be a year in about another week. And he is a good little boy. And you can tell he's a boy by looking at his bottom. In between the abdomen and the tail is the genital region. Looking for the proper terminology here. And you can tell he's a male because of the bulges. Now, you're going to laugh, but he's very slippery today. He's very, very wiggly. If I had videotaped this earlier in the day, you'd be able to see better. But let's see if we can get him to lay down. Clemmy, do belly, beast. Do belly. Do belly. Okay, so, woo, there we go. Here are his bulges here. And there's actually a V shape. If he would get his leg out of the way. There we go. There's a little bulge there. Clementine. He bit me a couple of times when he was really little, but try not to aggravate him. Leopard geckos can be easily stressed out. Woo! Feisty little guy. Um, he, um, he is from, I think, PetSmart. I actually wanted to find a certain color, and I knew Clementine was going to be the name. But yes, his name is Darling Clementine, like the song. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine. You are Mama's little gecko, and I'm oh so glad you're mine. Such a sweet beast, and a tame beast, and a gecko baby beast. Mama loves you, oh the most and not the least. You're my clammy, you're my clammy, you're my clammy baby beast. Mama loves you, oh, the most and not the least. He just shed recently. Look, I mean, I think he had a little bit of trouble with it. I'm actually going to put this shedding oil on him. It's kind of like hair oil that black people use, maybe. African American people. I'm being politically correct here, but it's sold in PetSmart, not at Petco. And I could show you the product. It's a pretty decent product. Um, I mean, you know, it was a little expensive, but I don't know. I was actually thinking about using olive oil on my reptile, which is kind of crazy. I was thinking about it. I didn't actually do it. I don't remember exactly what it was that is in it, but it's kind of like, let me see here. It's called Reptile Shedding Aid. Reptile Shedding Aid by Zoomed. And it is a spray, and you actually spray it directly on the animal. It has vitamin E oil in it. So it says water stabilizing hydrotope, which is just fancy for saying that it's kind of like a preservative. Glycerin, which is what they put in certain types of soap. Jojoba oil and vitamin E acetate in an oil base. And it's a pretty good product. And then there's also this one here. Oh, did I show you that on the camera? Ooh. I'm trying to show you the front of it. But since I have a little bit of dyslexia. So it's by Zoomed Company. And then I also have this product here, which is called Shed Ease. It's by Zilla. And it actually has a picture of a really pretty, I think it's a corn snake on the front. The bottle, and it's by Zilla Company. Ooh. There you go, Zilla. Above my finger, you can see it's made by Zilla. And you put this in water, and it soaks the gecko, or the lizard, or the snake. It actually says you can use it on tegus, monitors, skinks, boas, pythons, corn snakes, milk snakes, king snakes, chameleons, bearded dragons, iguanas, water dragons. I mean, pretty much any kind of reptile you can think of. It says shake well before use, and I mean, it has the directions right here. But the best, honestly, the best thing I found for shedding problems is sitting in the bathroom with the shower running and putting my gecko in a dog dish of water. And when I say a dog dish, I mean literally a dog dish that I got at Family Dollar. It's a plain metal dog dish for water. Here it is, right here. And I put the gecko in, and I fill it up just over their feet, but not so high that they can't move. You don't ever want to cover the gecko's head with water, ever. They can inhale the water, it can get into their lungs, they can get pneumonia or respiratory infection, and they can die. So don't ever fill it above their heads. I've seen people do it, and they think it's so funny and it's so cute. And yes, it's cute, but it can be dangerous to your animal. I mean, you have to watch them every single second. I recently had a gecko die. She was having shedding problems, and it turns out she had kidney problems, but the veterinarian said it wasn't my fault, so I'm very happy that it wasn't my fault, because I love my little Princess Tiana. I should do a memorial for her. All right, well, that's it for now. Thanks. Bye.